Happy Saturday, my friends, and welcome to another Chit Chat Live from East Texas. I'm DC, your host, and I'm so excited you guys are joining me today. So, happy 4th of July if you're watching us from the States. I am super excited you guys are here, and because it's Independence Weekend, we're doing a really awesome show today. It's financial independence. For those of you guys who are new, just joining us in the program, just let me give you a little bit of why I started this. I wanted to empower creative individuals who were stuck, who were trying to find their passions again, to transitions to career that were a lot more fulfilling and passionate. This is the reason we have this episode, financial independence. Because transitioning to something more exciting can be a little bit overwhelming. Trust me, I know. I'm going through the struggles again. So today we have an amazing guest. We have the talented Stephen Seals, who's a financial advisor. Amazing. So you are going to love him. Before we start, go ahead, my friends. Give this show a like, share with somebody, invite other people to kind of join us. You know, we're always better when we're growing together. Also, make sure if you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments. I'm going to be watching, so if you have questions for Steven or myself, we're going to be here. So how about we get started? You guys ready? So let's bring Mr. Steven on. Hi, darling. How are you?
Good morning.
Morning. How are you doing today?
Doing well, doing well.
I
Great
am
Saturday morning.
I am so excited you're here. I know you have a super busy schedule, so I'm not going to hold us up. Let's get started. We're talking financials. We're talking financial independence, and this is a topic that is really intimidating for people, let's be honest. When we're talking about money, it is a personal and overwhelming situation. As a financial advisor, because you've been doing this for a while now, you have seen it all, which is kind of scary. It's like, oh my God, what are some of the things you have seen? Like, what advice would you give to somebody who is looking to transition and is saying, okay, where do I start? What do I do? Because that's the kind of number one question. What does this all mean?
Right. So, you talk about being super scary. I'll just share a piece with you. A lot of people compare financial advisors to their dentist. And, it's kind of like somebody they don't want to come see because they're like scared it's going to hurt. So we won't hurt you by no means. Uh, However, things that financial advisors do is help you plan for the future or plan for the long term or the short term. So there's a lot of things that we do. If you're planning to transition into a new career or a new path, we can help you with that too. We can help you figure out where you're at today and where do you want to be. And that's by financial planning. The financial planning is a very neat piece and it can help us guide us through your life from now until you're very old.
So this is the part that most people kind of a little bit overwhelming because I joke because I met with Steven yesterday. Let's be honest. I can't ask you guys to do something that I wouldn't do it myself. So I was like, okay, we need an appointment because I need to get myself in line. And the first question he asked, like, so what is your goal in what is your plans? And I'm like, I was a soldier. I didn't think I was going to live that long. Like, what do you mean what I want to do? I was like, wait, what? So you asked me about goals. Why are goals so important? Talk to me about that.
So everybody in life needs a goal. You need to know
Okay.
where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, you're just kind of stranded out there in the desert, walking around in circles trying to figure it out.
That is true.
So what's important to you? So scratch down on a piece of paper. What is important to you? Is it your family? Is it, going on vacation with your family? Is it retiring? Is it being able to take care of yourself? Do you want to stay in a double bed nursing home room? Do you want a single bed nursing home room? Are your kids going to take care of you? There's lots of things that we bring up in these planning sessions to figure out what is it do you want. In the first session we have, you're not going to know. It's going to take some time to go home and reflect and try to jot down a few things to figure out what's really important to you. And most of the time, people come back and they want to be able to retire at some point in their life, or they want to be able to leave a legacy to their kids or grandkids. So that's when we start the estate planning piece. If it's the retirement piece, the first thing I'm going to do is see where you're at today and see if we can get there by the age you want to retire. Maybe you want to retire early. Maybe you want to retire at 55, 57. Okay, so we got a few years there before we hit the Social Security age. So we got to plan for that. We got to plan for maybe you want to take a vacation each year with your spouse or your kids. Maybe, you have a dream to have a house on Lake Hamilton or something like that. There's all different kinds of scenarios, and everybody's different. Everybody's out there giving financial advice, but it's broad, very broad. It's good and sound financial advice, Dave Ramsey and people like that. But everybody is different. So you need your own unique plan to help guide you through the way. And that's what we're able to do is help guide you and help you stay on track. Like I was telling you yesterday, the last thing we want you to do is jump out of the back of the truck. We want you to hang on and ride this ride. So part of our job is to keep you on track.
I love the fact that you said, which I thought was incredible, is like we're going to be in this for the long haul. And I'm like, what does that mean? What is the long haul? Because it's easy to have a plan. It's easy to start a plan. It is super hard to stay consistent with the plan unless somebody's looking at it. Unless somebody honestly is paying attention to saying, okay, well, you said you wanted to go this way. Why are you going the other way? So you talked about individual plans, and this is the part that most people don't. You can read a book, you can follow a course, but unless you digging down into yourself, it doesn't make any sense. How long does it take to do a plan? Because we literally just scratched the surface and you sent me home with homework, and all it took was an hour. I was like, I got all this homework. What am I doing? How long does it usually take?
So it just depends on how much you have and what you want to do with it. For a regular plan, just a retirement plan, I'm going to send you home with some homework. I'm going to send you home with a budget worksheet. And that budget worksheet is going to show me where you're at today. It's going to show me what you spend at Walmart, how much you spend on electricity, things that you have to live. Okay.
Okay.
Those are called necessary items, right? Necessities of life. House insurance, car insurance. You're going to have those bills every month, no matter what, especially if you drive. So, uh, do you have a 401k now? Do you have some kind of pension plan? You have life insurance. Oh, by the way, I'm married and I've got 6 kids. So how do I work that in there too? So there's, a lot of different factors there that I'm going to be pulling from those budget worksheets. And those budget worksheets that we give to people are just a guide to help you think, where is all my money going each month? What am I doing with my money? I don't know about you, but some months I look up and go, I spent an extra 1,000 and I'm not sure where it went. And people are like, yeah, that happens to me too. I was like, okay, well, let's see where this is going each month. Uh, these days and times we eat out a lot, and people are like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I spend a couple $100 a month eating out. I was like, if you think about it, you may spend that a week if you really think about it. So it's really, in some cases, enlightening to people to see where their money is going, which in turn can help them be more cognizant and help them save more too. They're like, oh, I can do without that. I can save that back. So once I get all that information back, I have a tool that runs 1,200 different scenarios against the market based on your budget. And from that budget, I'm going to collect some other additional information from you. Like, when do you want to retire? How much longer can you handle this job? Maybe it's at 52, maybe it's at 55. Maybe you love your job and you want to work to your 70 because you want to hold out on that Social Security. You want to get every bit that you possibly can because you've got good genes and everybody in your family lived to 95 or 100. You know?
That's a good plan for some people. Believe it or not,
That's
some
right.
people that's
That's
what they
right.
want to do. You're taking all this into consideration. You're looking at all these different pieces coming into play that sometimes we don't. So as you're collecting your budget, sheets and you're putting all this together, what do you normally tell people? Because before we move on to the next step, let's be honest. A lot of people are intimidated by this. You're truly asking somebody to say, what are you spending your money? And some people will be like, I have no money. But like you said, you're going out to eat every week. What does that mean? Like, how do you actually help somebody say, okay, start collecting this information? Where do they start collecting this information?
So this is probably the scariest part for everybody is when
I
they
can see
hand me
that.
that budget worksheet and they're like, I wonder how my test results are going to turn out.
It
I mean,
feels
they're
that
really
way.
like, it really does. Like, how's this going to turn out? Oh, I hope I'm not embarrassed. I hope I'm not spending enough money. I hope I'm saving enough money. Well, listen, I'm not, I'm more than likely may not be kin to you. I might know you. Being from the area that we're in, we kind of, everybody knows everybody.
Yes.
But we are. held to the highest standards of confidentiality, just like your healthcare professional. Uh, so, what I'm going to do is gently walk you through where we possibly could make changes in our lifestyle. If you like your lifestyle like it is, great. That's great. But, if it's going to cause you to have a downfall in the long term, I'm going to tell you that because it's my job as a fiduciary to make sure you know what's going to turn out and how it's going to turn out. Because the worst thing that could possibly happen to anybody is them outliving their money.
Ooh, I never thought about it
Okay.
that way. That's actually really terrifying.
That is. That's very terrifying.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't take into consideration, in 1985, when they went to McDonald's, they bought a hamburger for probably $1.50 or Happy Meal or whatever. Well, if you go there today and you buy a Happy Meal, it's like $6.
At
So a lot of
least.
things is what we take into consideration is inflation factors too, because we know our money is not going to be worth as much in the future. Okay. So when I look at somebody's budget, I go through it line by line and we relook that every year to ensure that we're staying on track. And that's where I keep you from jumping out of the back of the truck or kind of, straighten you back in the center of the road and getting out of the ditch. And, it's a difficult for me to do too because the last thing I want to do is, hurt somebody's feelings or make them mad. So it can be a difficult situation, but I have to make sure they know that because I don't want their kids to come up to me when they're sick one of these days and go, "Mom and Dad ran out of money. You gave them bad advice."
And
That would be really bad for me. That would be
absolutely.
sickening. And so, the main thing is once I get that budget in place, we run the different scenarios. At that point, I can tell you, are you saving enough for your retirement? Is your money going to outlive you? Or
Okay.
do we need to work longer, save more, or spend less?
Those are all difficult combinations, let's be honest, David. Like, those are none of the things people want to hear when you're talking about their money. You need to spend less, or work more, or save more. Because those are very
Right.
hard things, and money is very emotional. We have not been raised to see money as something that be used for us. So, talking to a financial advisor, I feel your pain because I'm in the same boat. I was like, what is he going to tell me when he sees this? And I have been spending money left and right. Like, I'm running a business. Like, my money goes off to buy, like, covers for books and like where are these covers at. So those are the things that I completely can relate to people. So we have done this sheet. We have put this together. What is the next step? Because I'm asking for a friend or myself. Don't gonna tell
Right,
anybody.
right. So now
What's the
that you
next
put
step?
all that together, what I'm going to ask you to do is basically, hey, just drop it by the office. I'm going to spend 2 or 3 days, analyzing this data. I'm probably going to call you and verify some of the data just to make sure
Okay.
I understand exactly what you put down. And then we're going to come back in, and that's when I'm going to give you your test results. Okay.
I'm not
And
ready.
you're
I'm not
like,
ready for this.
I don't want to see this. I hope I have done good. I hope I've done good. I hope this financial advisor approves this. He's not. I'm not going to like him. I'm just not going to like him.
It's terrifying.
And it
Like, you look
happens.
really, but you're so
Sure,
nice.
it happens. It happens. Uh, Sometimes it can be insulting to people, but I'm going to tell you the truth because it's my job.
Sometimes the truth hurts. I feel like, listen,
It
like
does.
sometimes it hurts, especially if you have a dream that you want to do something now, and the numbers are going, now is not going to be it, and you're going, what do you mean? What am I supposed to do now?
Right. So the main thing is I give you the information that you need to meet your goal.
Okay.
Now it's your choice to do whatever you want to do. It's your money. It's your life. I'm just giving you the ammunition you need to be successful. Okay.
Okay.
So that's when I come back in. We go over the chart, we go over the test results, we look at different scenarios. So maybe you gave me more than one goal. Maybe you said, hey, I have a retirement goal. And by the way, I have two lovely grandchildren that I want to help put them through college. Okay. So that's the next part of the goal. I have education goals for each grandchild. And
Okay.
and I look at, at that point I say, well, Johnny and Susie, they're going to need probably $20,000 a year to go to a Texas university. Uh, and this is what we're going to need per month until they're 18 years old to make that happen, with also the compound interest that's going to come along with it. So I'm able to tell people up front, hey, Mr. and Miss Grandparent, oh, by the way, you can give up to at least $30,000 a year and stay under the gift tax.
Oh, that's
Okay,
actually good to know. I'm like, really?
that's
Can you
right.
do that? Okay.
15,000 per person
Okay.
or 30,000 per couple per year. Okay, so Mr. and Miss Grandparent, if you have extra money laying around and you really want to help these kids fund these college accounts, here's what we can do, and here's when they can get there. And by the time they're 18 years old, this is going to cover a majority of their college education.
Okay.
And then that's two more goals they have, one for Johnny, one for Susie, along with a retirement plan.
You
Mr. Miss
know,
Grandparent
Stephen,
also,
this is a lot of money already. Like, we're talking like 80 grand just on the babies, not counting retirement.
that's right. That's
That's a
right.
tad bit intimidating, but okay, I'm going, oh
It
wow.
is. It's very intimidating.
Yeah.
It can be. But you got to think about it. This is not a sprint.
True.
This is for the long haul. Okay. So when you look at college educations, you want to look at it at 18-year time frame.
Okay.
So you don't want to start when they're 16. Okay. You want
That
to start when they are born and go from there. So that way, we can spread this out over time. And people are really surprised when they think about 529 and college saving plans
mhm.
is the growth potential they can possibly have. And oh, by the way, that's tax free money.
Really?
It grows tax free.
Oh my God, that is awesome.
Yes.
I need to check with my
So
brother. I was like, you do have this in place because we have two little kids in this house. Like, you are thinking about these things now.
that's right. So it's a tax it's very tax advantage for 529s to stick money and let it go grow tax free. And of course, when they pull it out, if they use it for college, tuition, supporting computer, apartments, all those things that you need when you go to college, off or here, that's tax free money for those kids. It
Oof,
grew tax free.
that is awesome. That is a
So
good tip for any parent.
that's right. So that's another goal for Mr. and Mrs. Grandparent. Oh, by the way, Mr. and Mrs. Grandparent also came along and they said, we're wanting a second house. We have our house here in Texarkana,
Okay.
and next 10 years, we want to have a lake house, and we have a $200,000 budget, and we're gonna have this nice little small cabin, and it's gonna be on the river, and here's where we want it, and this is what we're thinking about doing. Can you help us reach that goal? That's goal number four.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So as you can see, numerous goals
Hmm.
for people. It's not just a retirement goal for all. And when we look at the big scheme of things, we see books and TV shows, and this is what we should do, and this is what we should do for our retirement. We don't talk about the lake house. We don't talk about our
No.
grandkids. This is what we provide personal financial guidance to people. It's their information. It's their goals. It's not a cookie cutter approach.
I like the fact that it's so individual, and I think whether you come to Steven, whether you're out of state and you're looking for somebody, you have to have somebody that is truly going to give you some advice that is fit to you, that is fit to what you have, to your budget, to your conditions. So, Steven, is it hard for people to meet these goals? Let's be honest, because now that we're talking about it, like Mr. Grandparents, I'm like, oh my God, you are looking at 200 grand. Like, this is a huge master
Right.
plan.
Right.
Most people wonder, is it too late for me to start? Is there such a thing as it too late? Let's be honest, we're talking money. This is not one of those pies in the sky. When should people start doing this? Let's talk about it.
So, just like anything else, the earlier you start doing it, the easier it'll be later on in life. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, it's kind of like the rotisserie deals, that they used to do on the infomercials. You set it and forget it, and
Okay.
you leave it there. You let it grow. You let it cook. You keep adding to it. You don't ever miss it out of your paycheck. You don't ever miss it out of your savings because each month that's just something that you're going to do no matter what, and you got that in your plan. It may be all you can do is $50 a month. It may be all you can do is $1,000 a month. There's a broad range there. It just depends on what you have available and what you can afford. As far as timing, the earlier you do it, the less stressful it's going to be. So people that I have a lot of people that contact me and go, Stephen, I've retired. I'm like, okay, what are we going to do in retirement? So the plan has changed. It's living in retirement versus planning for retirement.
Okay.
However, though, the ones that come in years before they retire are way, way, way less stressed, less worried because they have a plan in place and they know their retirement date and they don't have to struggle with that decision one bit
One of the
because they know they're going to meet that goal.
I love that. One of the scariest things as my parents were getting ready to retire, and I think they're in that generation that everybody's counting on Social Security. And
Right.
until they went and talked to Social Security, my dad's like, "That's it. That's all I'm getting. Are you serious?" Because and it's not like he wanted just to stop working, but he wanted this option. And my dad's like, "Nobody can stop working in this country if this is what Social Security is going to give you." And that's a really huge reality check, especially when you're in that age. Where you're going, "What just happened?" So for our viewers, is one of the things I will recommend, even if you hadn't considered financial planner, start looking at financial planning. Like, what do you want to do when you're retired? Do you want to keep working? What does that mean? Because I think is amazing. So one of the things I want to point out, because I went to talk to Steven, he goes, by the way, talking to me is free. I'm like, wait, how do you make any money, child? Like, what do you mean? This entire session of all this work. So talk to a financial planner because you might be surprised of what is actually going to cost us, which I thought was amazing, Steven. So tell me about that, because I think if viewers want to be like, what do you mean it's free? What are you talking about?
So yeah, at Edward Jones, the way we make our money is, of course, it's all not free because I've got to make a living and feed my family. But for the consultation is always free. We're going to give you the good advice. We're going to give you the budget worksheet. We're going to offer to make you a financial plan. What we want you to do is invest your money with us. That's that. And once you invest your money with us, that's where we start to make our money. And of course, that's where hopefully you'll make your money too.
Thank
Uh,
you.
yeah. So I have no control over the Dow or the S&P, but I know some good things to put it in. So that's where we make our money is investing your money, and then what we do is along the way is make sure you stay on track with that plan. So what we usually do is during a year, uh, as the market's moving along, we make several phone calls to you, and we're either going to meet with you face to face either once or twice a year. If more, we will. Uh, However, not a whole lot usually changes in 6 months,
Okay.
but in a year or a change in life could have struck. Something could have happened to you or a family member, or maybe it's derailed your plan, and maybe we need to discuss that and reevaluate the plan. Uh, Maybe Uncle Ned died and left you $1 million, and now you got to do something with it. Something can always happen in life where you need to talk to your financial advisor. Also, one other things in life that happen. I've got my money invested. He knows that I've got a house. I'm making payments on it. Uh, I've got a vehicle. I've got this. I've got that, and I'm making payments on it. Maybe I need to call him and let him know that I've paid this off. I've paid that off. What can I do with that money now? Okay. So there's all kinds of things in life that we help people make educated decisions on based on the platform of the financial plan. That's our base. That's our slab. That's our concrete. That's that's where we start before we have that in place so we can start framing our life, okay, and our financials. So that's we're we become family over the
I
long
love that.
haul.
I love that. I love somebody
Uh,
because it's somebody who cares about what you are and where you are in your life and where you're going. And you need somebody that treats you like family. And sometimes telling you the hard truth. Let's be honest. Family is
that's right.
notorious for telling you that.
That's right. Family might kind of, put some sprinkles on top where, I might put it in the microwave and light it up for a minute. There's lots of things that we can help you make those difficult decisions on. A lot of our clients are elderly.
Okay.
So one thing that we watch out for them is making sure they're not being abused in any kind of way. So we provide that, and we become people's go-to for any kind of financial advice, and we make sure we update the plan at that time we're talking to you to go, hey, you're running this train in the ditch, or go ahead, have a good time, go on that vacation with your family, enjoy your time, you're fine. So it can be good conversations, it can be
Okay.
bad conversations, and but you need to know that. You need to know those things, and usually your family may not tell you those kinds of things. In some cases, they may sugarcoat it for you, but we're there to help you know whether or not what you're going to do to your financial plan because we are the fiduciary. We want to make sure that we're providing you the correct information because I definitely don't want to see an upset relative one of these days going, man, you gave mom the worst advice ever, ever. Because the last thing I want to do is get a bad reputation for giving somebody some kind of bad financial advice. Because this is my livelihood too. And
I love the fact that you said, giving them honest advice. You have to be able to make decisions based on facts and based on information that you know. So I did an Amazon Live yesterday, and I'm talking all about books. And one of the books that I was recommending was The Richest Man in Babylon. And most people talk about this book. If you haven't read it, it's short, it's good. One of the things that he says is pay yourself first. So that's one of his big tips. Live within lower than your means, lower than you make. And then he says invest. And this book was written in 1926, so it's 100 years. And you're going, and he's still talking about investment. A lot of the books that we have now, if you're looking for books to read, are based on the same principles. So he said, look for sound investments. Don't just find the first thing that comes through your mind. So when I'm thinking of investments, like I need some help. I don't know much about it, and the reality is I don't want to know much about it. I have other things to deal with.
that's
So
right.
that's the reality, right? Like unless you want to become an expert on the stock market, because you asked me yesterday, it's like, how do you feel about it? It was like, I really don't feel anything about it. I don't want to feel anything about it. I don't care if the market goes up and down. I just want to be consistently in my favor. So I love the fact that you're managing that. Like, how do you help people take away some of that stress and do what, the richest man in Babylon says, pay yourself first? Because some people don't think about it that way.
So yeah, I mean, you have to take care of yourself. You have to plan for your future. You and your spouse, or an individual, you have to take control of that. If you don't know how to do that, you need to find me, and let's get this started. Uh, but what we do is it's kind of like a psychological exam of how you feel about the market, the
Yep.
ups, the downs, and how it affects you emotionally, and what are the good with the up and the down,
Okay.
and that's what I'm able to explain to you. I mean, because I gave the example earlier about inflation and the buying a hamburger and the different cost, right? So, the people that said, hey, I put my money in the bed mattress, well, it's probably not going to last you a very long time. And, you might pull it out one of these days and it'll fall apart. But anyhow, uh, you know, the financial plan, I'm going to go back to it. That's our foundation. And it's going to guide us to what we should and shouldn't do. And one thing that the financial plan takes in consideration based on your risk tolerance, when I ask you those psychological questions about how you feel, we're going to set you either 50% in the market, 50% in the bond market. And I'm going to break this down as simple as possible. When I say 50-50, that's a portfolio objective. Okay. So basically what that means is 50% of your money is in the market and it's on the gas pedals.
Okay.
Okay. 50% of your money is in the bond market, and that's our airbags. So if we have a
Okay.
wreck, we've got airbags to protect 50% of our money. Okay.
Okay.
So at any given point in time, if you're depending on your portfolio objective, your entire portfolio could be up 15 to 20%, 7%. I mean, let me go back. It could be up, anywhere from 4 to 15%. Okay. Depending
Okay.
on your risk tolerance. The more risk you have, the more you make.
Fair
The more
enough.
risk you have, more you could crawl up in the corner and cry if you wanted to. Okay.
True.
Uh, so, and that's our point is making sure you stay on track because when we set that risk tolerance in place and we set your portfolio objective, you've got so much money on the gas pedal, so much on the airbags. Okay. And it depends on your risk and how long it can be invested. So the last thing I want to do is take an 80-year-old that comes in my office and goes, "Hey, Stephen, I've got $300,000 and I need to invest it. You think I'm going to put most of our money on gas pedals or airbags?"
Hopefully,
There's going to be
airbags.
more on airbags, right?
Yes.
Okay. I have the same, and I have another individual comes in the office and they're 40 years old. They're like, "Hey, I'm working another 25 years." So they have a very long time horizon. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, guess what? They can take more risk because they can ride those waves of that ocean. Okay. They can ride the ups and downs. So we're going to give them more. They can tolerate that risk more because they have longer let it sit in there. Okay. The worst thing anybody can do, take note, the worst thing anybody can do is try to time the market. What I
Mm,
mean by that,
yes.
when the market's dropping, they pull their money out. When the market's coming back up, they put their money back in. Do you think you can time that market? Nobody has that crystal ball.
No.
I mean, not even Biff and Back to the Future could time that crystal ball, right?
No.
All right. So if you move your money in and out as the market goes up and down, you will miss out in the long run. It's proven itself time and time again that if you pull your money out in a downturn, you're taking a loss. When you put it back in, you've already missed several of the upticks because you're thinking, when's the best time to put it back in? So you cannot time the market. That's where we help you stay on track to make sure you stay in the market. Okay. So, brief little example, right quick. Pandemic, March 23rd, 2020. The market dropped significantly.
Hmm.
Uh, I felt bad because I had one individual out of several hundred clients that pulled out of the market. I couldn't
Oh.
stop them. I could not stop them. Anyways, I wish they would have because they would have probably had at least 20 to 25% more money than what they had before they pulled out. However, I could not stop them. I felt so bad. And of course, hindsight's always 2020. But that's where we come in and I do that psychological risk tolerance questionnaire and I go, "Are you sure?" And question number 5, I'm going to ask you every time is, what are you going to do when it hits the fan? What are you going to do? When the
Okay.
pandemic hits, when the housing market hits, when 9/11 hit, the Carter era, what are you going to do? The correct answer is, I'm going to stay in.
I like that.
That's C. D says, I'm going to stay in if I have the cash available. I'm going to invest more money. So the
Okay.
flip side of that story is March 23rd, 2020. I had a lot of people that had cash sitting in their sock drawer, and they said, "Listen, I need to invest this cash." And I said, "Man, it is on sale. Everything's on sale."
Okay.
Because think about it, the market's down, right?
Yes.
Everybody that invested that day on March 23rd, the cash they invested, if they invested in the good individual stocks or mutual funds, most of them at this time have made anywhere from 70 to 150% on their money.
Wow.
Buy low, sell high. Simple, right?
As long as you
However,
know what you're doing,
you
let's be
cannot
honest.
time the market. You cannot time the market.
It's simple as long as you know what you're doing. So, to our viewers, as you can tell, Stephen and I can talk all day, and I have several more sessions with him because we're getting ready to start on this extremely scary journey that I'm doing my financial planning. But for all of you watching, remember, we're here to make sure that you grow. We're here to make sure to inspire you, to help you to dream, and to make sure these dreams come true. Step one is you need a plan. Hence, Stephen is here joining us. You need a plan to help you get to where you want to be because sometimes by ourselves we're not going to do it. So, Stephen, I am so happy you joined us. I know you got tons of things going. You have some babies in the house. I can't wait for a surprise today that you're telling them.
That's right.
Thank you so much, darling, for joining us. Have an amazing 4th of July and tell our viewers. If you have any questions, make sure you put them on. Watch the replay. I'll be checking on. And, Stephen, do you have any last comments for us?
Don't time the market. Get a plan. Find somebody that can hold you accountable to that plan.
Ooh,
Okay? Find somebody that will hold you accountable to your plan. Put that goal in place, whatever's important to you, whether it's retirement, the kids' education, legacy, it don't matter. It's like anything else in life. If you don't have a point set out there, you will never reach it. So put that point in the ground, that plan, and work towards it. And have somebody hold you accountable.
in case you're wondering, Steven is my person holding me accountable. And even from yesterday, I was like, oh my God, I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I'm ready, but I'm doing this. So, my friends, have an amazing 4th of July. We actually have a special chit chat next week because I have a new book coming out that I want to tell you guys all about it. It's Dare to Love. So, join me next week. And, guys, have an amazing day. Bye. Thanks, Steven.
Bye. Thank you.